Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're not just talking about fixing what's broken, we're diving into something much more exciting, the blueprint for innovation. How do you actually define and measure success for something that doesn't even exist yet?
Okay, so let's jump right in. In the world of quality management, you're always faced with this big question. Are we trying to improve what we already have, or are we trying to create what comes next? And believe it or not, there's a specific powerful tool designed for each one of those jobs. And that's where the Six Sigma methodology comes into play. It gives us these two really distinct frameworks, DMAIC and DMADV. You can think of them as two totally different roadmaps, and each one leads to a completely unique destination. Think of it this way. DMAIC, that's like renovating a house. You're working with the structure you've already got, you're just making it better. But DMADV, that's about building a brand new house from the ground up, starting with nothing but an empty plot of land.
So DMAIC is absolutely your go-to for improving what's already there. It's all about digging deep, finding the root cause of a problem in your current process, and then fixing it step by step. It's really about evolution, not revolution.
But what if you're not improving? What if you're innovating? What if your whole goal is to create a product or a process that has never existed before? Well, that's a whole different ballgame, and that's where DMADV comes in.
DMADV gives you this data-driven approach that is so crucial when you're launching something totally new. The whole point is to build quality in from day one, making sure the final thing is exactly what the customer needs right out of the gate.
And here it is, the 5-step roadmap for that innovation. First, you define your goals. Then you measure the things that are critical to quality, the absolute must-haves for your customer. Then you analyze your options, design the solution, and finally, verify that it actually works. Now today, we're going to zero in on that really pivotal second step, measure.
And this is where things get really interesting, because the measure phase for creating something new is completely different from when you're just fixing an old process. It really requires a total shift in how you think about it.
So instead of measuring an existing problem, like, say, how many defects are coming off a production line, this phase is all about quantifying the ingredients for future success. It's about defining what good even looks like before you've built a single thing.
And this slide just captures that difference perfectly. With DMAIC, you're basically looking in the rearview mirror, collecting data on past problems to figure out what went wrong. But with DMADV, you're looking forward, through the windshield, gathering data to define exactly what right looks like for the future.
Okay, so this is all great in theory, but how does it actually work? How do you take this idea and turn it into real, concrete actions? I mean, how do you measure something that doesn't even exist yet?
This quote really gets to the heart of it. This isn't about guesswork or making assumptions. It's about starting with your customer, your end user, your stakeholder, and then working backwards with data to turn what they want into what your project will target.
So, what does that actually involve? Well, it's a series of really structured steps. You start by defining customer requirements. Then you pinpoint those critical to quality factors, the absolute non-negotiables. From there, you have to figure out if you can even build it. And you create scorecards to rate your different design ideas. As you can see, nothing is being left to chance.
This is the real magic of this phase. It's all about transforming a vague customer wish, like, I want this app to be fast, into a specific, measurable engineering goal. Something like, the response time has to be under 200 milliseconds. See the difference? One is a wish, the other is a target you can actually build and test.
And this brings us to the biggest, most important takeaway about why this phase is so vital when you're creating something brand new from scratch.
At the end of the day, the measure phase in DMADV is basically an architect creating a super detailed, data-driven blueprint before a single brick gets laid. Without it, you're just guessing, and that's a recipe for disaster. This blueprint ensures that what you build is actually going to meet the needs of the people who are going to use it.
Ultimately, measuring first makes sure you're not just innovating for innovation's sake. It means you're building on a solid data-driven foundation that truly meets a real customer's needs. So that leaves us with one final thought. The next time you have a big idea, how could using this blueprint-first mindset completely change the way you create?